Yeah. So now it started. Yeah. So guys, today we will be starting with ANOVA. So I just started the recording. I thought earlier the recording was on. Okay, but not a problem. So okay. So let's example. We have three machines.
Sir, your screen was not visible, sir.
Still not visible. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
So let's example. I have three machines. Output from three machines. M1, M2, M3. Okay. It can be any measurement. It can be the weight of the steel ball. It can be anything that we have. Example, we have these measurements. So let me try it for. So I have three machines, output from three machines, M1, M2, and M3. So now I actually need to see whether the output that the machine 1, machine 2, machine 3 is giving. So I have taken a sample of 31 pieces. So N is 31. Capital L means population. Small n means sample. Okay. So let me tell you some more things.
Sir, small n is average, no, sir?
No.
Then how come you came in at 31, like it's 31?
31 is the number of samples that we have.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So guys, let me tell you some things for your reference that will be basically important for you going forward. So whenever we refer to sample mean, so let me tell you, it is not ANOVA, it is just a thing which I am telling you. It's mean, it's standard deviation, it's variance. Okay. Let's example, I'll say sample population size. Sample size is denoted by small n, population by capital N. Okay. Sample mean we call x bar. That is x and a sign over the top. Let me tell you.
Sir, sample mean, put it on mediums.
This is x and this kind of bar is known as sample mean. So x bar. Population mean is denoted by a symbol that is mu. Mu is something like this. So I'm writing it here. The symbol is actually like this. This is mu. We call it mu. Sample standard deviation is denoted by S. Population standard deviation is denoted by a letter like this. This is known as sigma. Okay. Oh, sorry, not variance. It's mean. Okay. Population variance, sorry, sample variance is denoted by S square. Population variance is denoted by population variation denoted by sigma square. That is like this, sigma and square. With me? Anybody any doubt till now?
No, sir.
These are the
No.
notations. These are the notations that.
Sir, once when you go to Excel, sir, please.
Excel, okay.
So population meaning it's a collection of samples. Is it right, sir?
Population is basically the mean of n observation, capital N observations. Sample mean is mean of small n observations. Small n, size of small n is always less than the capital N.
Sir, please repeat.
Which thing, like this notations or
No,
the
sir,
line?
no, sir. Population.
Population is denoted by capital N. So let's example, capital N. So let's example, we have a machine. Each machine produces 1 lakh units. But the sample that we've taken is 31 samples. So the mean of this capital N 1 lakh will be denoted by mu. The standard deviation of this 1 lakh will be denoted as sigma, variance sigma square, and this is known as capital N. On a similar size, the mean of small n is denoted by x bar, standard deviation is small s, variance s square, and this is small n. With me?
Yes, sir, but can you please explain what is a population definition, which is a collection of samples, right?
No, population is not a collection of sample. So collection of sample and getting their mean and plotting them is central limit theorem. So
Sir, correct
yeah.
me if I'm wrong. If you calculate the mean standard deviation of available samples, is called as population. Whereas
No. Population is, so what is the population of India? Can anybody tell me?
it's 130 crores.
Huh?
About 130 crores, sir.
130 crores. So if I need to evaluate the age of people in India, I take a sample of 2 lakh. Okay. And I'll ask them their age. Then sample will be 2 lakh and population is 130 crores. Simple.
Okay, okay, sir.
And population mean, when we say 130 crore, it is capital N. When we say 2 lakh, it is small n. When we say mean of population, the mean of 130 crore, it is denoted by symbol mu. When we say standard deviation of 130 crore, it is denoted by symbol sigma. When we say variance, it is sigma square of 130 crore. But when we talk about 2 lakh, it is denoted by small n. Size is denoted by 2 lakh is small n. The sample, the mean will be x bar. The standard deviation will be small s. The variance will be s square. Anybody any doubt? Anybody who has any doubt? Okay. Now let me tell you what is ANOVA. So I'll speak for 5-7 minutes so that you will have the better understanding. And after that, I'll do some practical. And today after ANOVA, I'll tell you about the distributions. So when we tell you about the distributions, this distribution is basically theoretical part. This is not a practical part. I will tell you what is a distribution? Z distribution, Z distribution. I have told you.
So you are
Your
mute.
voice is not clear.
So you are on mute.
I think he got disconnected.
Yeah, sorry guys. So let me tell you about ANOVA. And today, what I was telling you, we will be covering with ANOVA, and then I'll be going with the distributions that we have. So T distribution, F distribution, Poisson, binomial, some distribution. I'll tell you about it. The practical part of it is not a thing that we have the practicals for that. The thing is, I will tell you about the distribution, how the distribution looks like, in which of the conditions the distribution can be used. So, and some more things, the T distribution, G distribution, and many more. Well, I'll going to tell you. So, first, let me tell you about ANOVA. So, when we have been comparing the means of one sample or two samples, what we required T distribution, T test, because now the question can be, how do we know whether it's a T test, what is T test, and all these things? I will tell you once I will cover the distribution. Similarly, when we go to ANOVA, we use a test that is known as F test. F is also a distribution, like a Z distribution, normal distribution that we have seen a bell shape. Similarly, a T distribution exists, which I will tell you today how it looks like and all the things. And again, when we work on ANOVA, when we need to compare more than two means of the samples, whether the population will suffice or not, then we normally go with F distribution. ANOVA uses F distribution. So let me tell you. So ANOVA,
Sir,
yeah.
So we perform this test only in case of when we need to find the means, right?
Yeah. But when we don't need to find the means, we need to infer the means of a population.
Yeah, but only in case of means, right?
Only case of when we are comparing one mean or two means, we use T test. Whenever we are trying to infer more than two means of population, then it is F test.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now ANOVA. ANOVA is known as analysis of variance. So over the screen, what you can see is, so guys, please put yourself on mute. So I hear a lot of background noise. Yeah. Okay. So when we say ANOVA, it is analysis of variance, but it is comparing the means. The reason is because when we have more than two samples with ourselves, so what it does. So within ANOVA, it is simply said whether the samples that have been collected, okay, are they different experimentally, or so experimentally means, let's example, we are conducting an experiment. Are they naturally different, which means are they collected from different populations, or they are collected from a same population, is the thing which ANOVA will try to identify. So in case it is collected from same population, then the variation within themselves is pretty less, as sorry, variation between themselves, variation between M1, M2, M3 is sufficiently not that large as compared to the variation within themselves.
This happens in which case?
So this is the way how ANOVA works. I'm telling you.
No.
Please repeat, going over the head.
So ANOVA basically says that how ANOVA works is, ANOVA, the principle of ANOVA is it tries to identify whether the variation between the samples, say M1, M2, M3, between M2, M1, M2 and M3, the variation that is, say it is 5, and within M1 the variation is say 4, within M2 it is say 5, within M3 it is say 6. So we see that between M1, M2, M3 the variation, but within them it is 4, 5 and 6. So the variation between the samples is not sufficiently large as compared to the variation within the samples. So in case this kind of a situation comes, then ANOVA says that it is they belong to the same samples, or the sample mean is almost equal. Did you get it?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, so do you know what is variation, what is
Yeah.
standard deviation?
Yes, sir. What is, when you're saying variation, what does that mean?
Do you know what is standard deviation?
Yes.
Other day we have calculated.
Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
It's the square of standard deviation. So think it is a standard deviation only, just a square of it. It tries to identify how much on an average every value deviates from mean. Okay. Did you
Sir?
get it? Yeah.
First of all, ANOVA detects whether the sample that came from is from same sample, same population or different population,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Next it says that if it comes from the same population, the
Mhm.
variance is less, and if it comes from different population, the variance would be more, right?
Yes. Yes. You're right. So that's what I have been trying to explain. So the thing is, let's say example. So variance, first of all, it is variation. So the thing is, or you can call it a variance. So the thing is, do you know what is standard deviation? You guys said yes, because we have covered 2 days back only. So standard deviation is how much on an average every value deviates from mean. Are we fine?
Yes, sir.
Now the square of it is variation. So I'll
Yes.
tell you, yeah. So it will take the standard deviation or the variation of M1. Okay, let's example, it came to 5. So within M1, how much is the variation? 5. Now it will again take M2 and will calculate the variation within M2. Let's example, it came to 6. Okay, now it will take M3. Now within M3, the variation of M3 came as say again 5. Okay, now as a next step, it will take the variation of M1, M2 and M3 together. Let's example, it came to 6. So now when we
Sir?
said, yeah,
So here only that problem that I'm having is that while you say that the variance of M1 plus M2 plus M3 means that it is taking this as one sample.
so if you'll put M2 under M1, M3 under M1 and M2, and you calculate the entire variation, then it is a combined variation.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now what it will do? First it calculates the variation individually, then it calculates variation altogether. Okay, and it will try to identify whether the within variation, if the within variation is sufficiently large as compared to between variation or not. If it is not sufficiently large, then it will say it is from same population. The mean is same, as it will say the mean is different. So this is the principle of ANOVA on which the ANOVA works upon. So this is the mostly asked question when you go for any statistics interview. So one of the mostly asked question is, what do we mean by ANOVA and how ANOVA works? And there are certain conditions of ANOVA as well. Say data should be normally distributed, and there are certain assumptions of ANOVA which I will be covering later. But this is one of the best definition of ANOVA which you can explain to anybody, and there is no better definition than this.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, how we are going to calculate the variance together, as you said? I didn't get
So
that.
I have M1, I have M2, and I have M3. If I'll place M1, under M1 I'll place M2, under M2 I'll place M3, and I'll take a standard deviation of together and just square it.
So,
Then I'll calculate the variance.
what do you mean by placing under M1 and 2? You place,
M1 has how many samples? 31. Okay.
Yeah.
Screen
On-
is not visible.
Okay, just give me a second.
So you mean to say we take M1 plus M2 plus M3 as one
No,
sample?
no. It's not plus. Just give me a second. Let me show it. I didn't realize that screen is. Please let me know if it is visible to you guys.
Yes, sir, we can able to see
So
it.
now one is individually. What is the standard deviation of M1? What is standard deviation of M2? What is standard deviation of M3? The second is, if I'll say M1, if I'll say M2, I place it like this, and one is M3. I place this under this, and I take a collective standard deviation of this or a variation of this.
Okay,
This
sir,
is
got
what-
it.
Got it?
Sir,
Yes,
after
sir.
that, what happens, sir? Suppose we
No.
found that M4, suppose this as M4.
So it will say variation is 3, 4, 3, and here it is say 4. So whether this variation 4 is sufficiently large as compared to 3, 4, and 3 or not. If it is not sufficiently large, it is almost equal, then it will say that all the three means of the samples are the same, else it will say it is not.
So if you calculate the
What-
variance altogether, then it will be the variance of population, or what would be?
It will be sample only. I said the population is 1 lakh for each
1 lakh.
machine.
Okay.
But I have taken it for, so because this hypothesis testing is an art where we don't have the enough resources, manpower, money to work on the population. So that's where the population will not come into consideration. Population will only be assumed after the test is being conducted.
Okay. Then variance of all together means I mean you
Variance of all
explained-
three samples together, and
okay,
variance of three samples individually.
okay.
When I say individually, it is within variation. When I say total, then it is within variation.
So it's a variance of 90 samples. Is that right, sir?
So
Yeah.
can you write
First,
it somewhere, please?
yeah. So when I say between variation, it means within. Sorry. When I say within, then it is within M1, for M1, the variation that is calculated for M1, M2, M3 separately. Okay, when I say between variation, it is M1, M2 plus M3 taken together. With me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now let me tell you. Sorry, the spelling is wrong. Now, when we have these three, but this is the logic on which ANOVA works. You will not come across this logic. This is the hidden logic on which ANOVA works. So let me tell you how ANOVA works. So we have two states of our mind. One is H0. Second is H. This is known as null. This is known as alternate. Null says mu1 equal to mu2 equal to mu3. Alternate says any one is not equal. With me?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, if the variation between is not large, then that means the sample is taken from the same population.
Yes.
So what will we do with this information even if we come to know that sample is within the same population or different population?
So same vendor wise example that if we take yesterday, if we have 3 vendors, if ANOVA says it has been taken from the same population, this means the average 57 gram, whatever vendor 1, vendor 2 that were already supplying, vendor 3 or vendor 4, if they will supply, they are all same, which means I can trust that 95% of the time, the population which they will provide will have the mean almost equal. And
Okay.
yeah, in case they are not same, then we can say that they are like they will not provide me the same weight all the time when it comes to the population.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay, now till here it is fine, H0 and HA.
Yes, sir.
Now what I'll do is,
So can you please repeat this one, null and alternate?
the everywhere when we did the like this statistics, we take a null state and an alternate state. Same in
No, for
Yeah.
this particular ANOVA thing.
for ANOVA, the null is all 3 mu's are equal. All 3 means of M1, M2, and M3 are equal. So I said M1, the mean of M1 is mu1, the mean of M2 is mu2, the mean of M3 is mu3, because that's why I've written here mu as a symbol. Oh, sorry.
But mu for population and x bar for sample.
Yeah. So I just
It has to be
yeah,
X
yeah,
bar,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No. So we are assuming about the population only, that the mean of the population when it comes to the so the bus example which I have taken, so we have assumed that the entire bus rating has 8.5 or the entire bus does not have the rating 8.5. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So that was the thing that came. So because we have a sample, so this has, so I've written it this wrong. This is x bar 1, x bar 2, and x bar 3. But here it is it is right. I say mu1 equal to, considering the x bars, we will do some calculations. We need to assume whether we need to infer whether the mean of the population of population 1, population 2, population 3 from machine 1, machine 2, machine 3 are equal or not. That's the thing I've been trying to estimate.
So that means x bar 1, x bar 2, x bar 3 equal to u1, u2, mu1, mu2, mu3.
No. So I'm saying whether these 3 machines will be giving me equal means when it comes to population or not. Right now, if I need to measure for x bar 1, x bar 2, then I can simply do x bar has an average of 58.5, x bar 2 has 55, x bar 3 has 49. I will say these are not equal, but are their means in population be equal or not is the thing which I am trying to estimate.
Means all the experiment will go on population.
Every time, because this is the power of hypothesis testing.
Okay.
Just give me a second, guys. Somebody. Yeah. So whatever experiment we are carrying, it starts from sample, but it will infer the population. Okay. Guys, I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
whatever experiment we do, we collect the sample, but we try to estimate the population, and we think about the population only, whether the considering the sample population is same or not. If I need to evaluate a sample, I can simply take the sample mean and I can say whether they're equal or not. But I need to estimate the population. With me, anybody, any doubt?
Sir, so in ANOVA test, what we can do is that we can take 3 samples from a population randomly, and we calculate the means of these 3 samples, and one under the other, we take the fourth sample as well. And if the mean is same,
Not mean, not
or
mean. No, it works on
sorry,
very.
variance.
Variance,
Sorry,
variance.
It works on variance and gives you the output for me.
Oh, yes. So
Yeah.
yes, from variance we can easily take out the mean.
Yeah, so that's the logic of ANOVA. ANOVA tries to estimate whether these 3 simple means are same or not by taking the variations within the sample and the between samples.
Yes.
That's the magic of F test, which ANOVA applies on the backend. Okay, let me show you. I'll go to data. I'll go to data analysis. I'll go to
So
ANOVA.
ANOVA is a process for F test.
F test is used to conduct ANOVA.
Okay.
As yesterday we have seen T test, so it is T test. But the name is ANOVA, but on the backend F test is used.
Okay.
Okay, now it says input range. I'll say I'll select the input range like this. Okay, so I've selected all 3 columns together. Okay, and I'll simply say what is the output range we expect. So in case you select M1, M2, M3 as well over the top like this, then click on label in first row. Right now I have not, so I'm not clicking here. I'll say output range. I'll say here, I need my output here. I'll say this, and I'll say you see, yesterday when we conducted, the value that was coming was T everywhere, T test, T test, T stat. Did you see?
Yes, sir.
Today we are seeing it is using F everywhere. So it uses F test in the backend. Okay. Now,
Yes, sir. Means, sir, there is no need to calculate individually mean.
no, it will calculate by its own. So it has calculated every sample 1 has a 58 mean, sample 2 has 55 mean, sample 3 has 49 mean, sample 1 has like 493 variance, sample 2 has 703 variance, sample 3 has 672 variance. It has calculated between groups what is sum of square errors, sum of square within group, what is sum of square, what is mean square. All these things it has calculated by its own. You just need to do what you just need to do is you just need to copy and paste this slogan.
Slogan will same.
Slogan will always be the same. This, like whenever we work on any of the hypothesis testing in the world, this is a slogan.
Okay, okay.
So now the value is p value. I'll highlight it. Okay, now it is 0.3. Is it higher than 0.05 or less than 0.05?
Higher than.
Higher than. So if p is high, null must fly, which means null is accepted. So we say this condition is accepted and this condition is. Are you with me?
Means all the samples collected from the same population.
Yeah, so when you will take the population mean of M1, M2 and M3, 95% of the time they will be same.
Sir,
Hmm.
so then how are we using this information that taken to between together and taken, separately?
So this is a thing which ANOVA has used in the backend. So ANOVA has calculated
Okay.
the variance. ANOVA has calculated the between groups. I told you within variation, between variation. It has used within, between, all the things it has calculated on the backend.
Okay.
Basis which it calculates the F test and F critical value. So there is another way. If you don't want to use P value, we can use F critical and F value as well. But I actually don't want to confuse you. So you guys please be here on the P value only and apply this slogan. You will be able to know whether to accept or to reject the null hypothesis.
Sir, why is this 5%? I should say, na 0.05. Why 5%? Why not 2%, 1%, or 10%? Is
So
there any way?
5% is the industrial standard. So every time when we work, so if I let me show you. So if I'll say hmm,
Sir,
hmm,
so in the example that we have seen right now,
hmm.
that all the sample mean is coming same, so the inference we are taking is that the all samples is coming from the same population.
All samples are coming from same population, or like they are behaving like a same population, which means the mean is almost equal.
So the second line I didn't get.
The thing is, they are coming from same population, or they're behaving equally. Machine 1, machine 2, machine 3 are giving us the equal output, which can be considered as any machine's output.
Any machines or this is same machine?
Same machine, yeah, any machine M1, M2. If I'll say A equal to B equal to C, then it can be B as well, it can be C as well, or it can be A as well. Any machine.
But so yesterday we had discussed that the samples that we are taken should be from the same machine, or even if it is from the different machine, that has to be under the hypothesis if we are considering.
Yeah. So let's example the example that we have taken yesterday, vendor one and vendor two.
Yes.
So now if this thing is well proven that vendor one and vendor two are supplying me similar material, and if I'll mix the vendor one and vendor two material, then is it necessary whether it is from vendor one or vendor two? No, I can say it from any vendor, because they are both are supplying me the same quality. So in here
Yes.
as well, yeah, if it is coming, so that's why I'm saying any machine.
Okay, yes,
if-
yes. Because the sample mean is same, so doesn't matter the machine is
Yeah,
same or different.
yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
So the confidence level in hypothesis testing. The confidence level 1 minus alpha is a significance level 0.05. The confidence level, the p value. So everywhere you will see. So you'll say y hypothesis testing is 95%. You can take any of the document. It will say because 95 is a thing on which the industry works on, and you have a full right to change it. You can change it. I can say I can do this. Go data analysis, ANOVA, and I'll say here 0.01. You can change it if you want. I'll change the output range, but basis that the output will change. I'll say output where I want here, and I'll say okay. Now you see the p value is 3.6, 0.36. It is again 3.36, which means that even at 99%, test is confident that it will give you the same value. But the value of F critical and F is same. F critical has changed.
So how do we read f and f critical?
No, I'm not telling you right now at this point of time, because you guys will be confused. I need to first explain you what is F distribution.
Sir, this value we have to compare to F table and consider this is it is null hypothesis or alternative.
Yeah, you're right. But the team is not aware about what is F table, what is T table. So I'm not going into that.
So sir, since we have changed the level of significance, then the p-value should be read according to that, right?
The p-value is, the p-value is.
Then in this case, the p-value should be higher than 0.01.
Yeah. So in this case, the slogan will be same, but the values that we are referring should be 0.01.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we also don't know how to calculate the p-value. So
The p-value is the
we are
probability
inferring
value.
result based on, yes.
The p-value is the probability value which system will automatically calculate for you. All the systems, R, Python, Excel, whatever you deploy, they will calculate for you. How to calculate the
But
p-value
sir,
is,
yes. Yes, sir. Yes.
how to calculate the p-value is out of scope for this particular thing, because if I'll go into, so that's a hardcore statistics. If I'll cover the hardcore statistics, then it will take 3.5 months. There's a separate course where all these things will be done, and it will take 3.5 months to calculate that. So p-value is calculated basis what is the f
Okay,
and f critical value. These are the two things that are used to calculate the p-value. So let's take example. So if I'll say, so this f, so I have not explained you the f distribution. So even if I'll explain you, then it will not be fine. So the thing is, you need to use the readily cooked p-value from the tool. If I'll go on calculating the p-value, then it's actually a statistics kind of a topic, and the entire statistics will take at least 3.5 months to cover the basics and all the things, every table, every distribution, and all these things will come into consideration. Is it fine, guys?
Yes, sir.
So,
Yeah.
so what if we can search and find for t-test for this all of the three M1, M2, and M3 variables?
So t-test is not available for more than 2 samples.
So can we merge that M3 in M3 and M2 in M1 and then find t-test, so p-value will be equal to this ANOVA or will be different? This is my question.
So you see, every time, but I've just give me a second, guys.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry, guys. So yeah, so the question is, every test that we conduct has a alpha associated to it. Alpha is the error rate that is associated to it. So if I'll conduct multiple t-tests here, so this alpha will not be 0.05, it will be 0.0, like 0.10, 0.15, 0.20. It will keep on increasing. We can do that. Say x bar 1, x bar 2, one t-test, x bar 2, x bar 3, again one t-test, x bar 1 and x bar 3, again one t-test. But that will increase the error rate.
Okay, and the error rate will be of sum of square of mean square, sir.
Yeah, sum of error rate will be here. If it is 0.05, 5%, 5%, so it will 10%, 15%, 20%. So it will keep on increasing.
So it will be behaving like between variation, no?
No. So note. So I'm talking about a different thing. So the thing is, if let's example I have conducted this test, what is the error which you have with this associated with this test? 5%.
Yes, sir.
So when we conducted this one test yesterday, what is the error associated with it for two samples? 5%. If I'll say V1 with V3 again, then again 5%.
Yes.
Then V3 and V2 again.
Then again
5%. So the error will be 15% for comparing V1, V2, and V3 samples.
Yes.
But here it is 5% only.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Anybody else any doubt, or I'll jump to distributions?
Sir, what is the practical implementation while doing modeling for this thing?
So the practical implementation is, with the help of samples, you have a capability to infer about the populations.
So you're not audible.
Yes, yeah. So I've been saying that the practical implementation is, you will get an idea about the population from the sample. Is the practical implementation of this.
I'm not getting it.
So you have the samples only, M1, M2, M3, but you can tell something about the population, that 95% of the time the population mean is same. So you can think about the population, you can estimate the population parameter with the help of samples that you have. Is the practical inference for this? Did you get it?
No, sir, but what do we do with this information? Like, let's say these are the variables of a data set. And let's assume that we have to reject the null hypothesis. Then what do we do with this information?
So this means that when you are working with the population, so the means will not be equal. So in this scenario, the same example, if I'll take vendor 1, vendor 2, yesterday it has said like mean of vendor 1 and vendor 2, when it comes to population, they are not equal, which means we should not ask the vendor 2 to supply us the material, because whatever he will be giving in population, it will not be matching. So this is the approximation we got about the population with the hypothesis testing.
Okay.
So let's say example, you go to a shop to buy chairs for your office. Say you have to buy 10,000 chairs. He shows you 5-6 samples. You say okay, and you ask him to supply you the material, and suddenly he supplies the 1 lakh or 10,000 chairs to you, and in office you identify the chairs are not equal, or chairs are not as equal or similar to the samples which you have seen. So what you will do at that point of time? You have a lots of risk with respect to, because the chairs have already been arrived to your office. You have to pay him or whatever the things are. But in case you perform the hypothesis testing then and there only, then it will give you approximation that whatever the shopkeeper is showing you, he's saying there is a bit variation in sample, but in population you will not find it. Hypothesis testing will guide you at that point of time, whether you will be accepting the population or not, based on the sample that have been given to you. It is giving you approximation. Did you get it?
Okay, sir. So this means that we use this to determine whether a particular variable like should be kept while modeling or not.
So this is okay. You are asking with respect to the modeling how it is important.
Yes,
So
sir.
this
Yes.
is important in a general life. With respect to the modeling, it is not that important. It is important with respect to statistics. So there are two things. One is statistical implementation and second is predictive modeling. So this is important with respect to statistical implementations.
Yes, actually, this is purely the business perspective. So whether we need to,
Yeah. So when you do a course or MBA in business statistics or business management, so these things are being taught to you. This is business statistics, business management. How to take the business decisions is a thing which this particular thing will help you. Modeling is a different thing. Modeling is predictive modeling and all the things. This is
Nothing to do with predictive modeling, right?
Yeah. So very limited.
Okay.
We can predict that the variable is more important towards the what we want to predict while doing machine learning. Which variable will be important for getting the output?
No. Yeah. So this is the thing.
Factor analysis basically.
This thing is a thing that we will be doing. But there also hypothesis testing will play a limited role. Only some of the key scenarios you will find a p-value which are using hypothesis testing, but say 90% of the time it won't be of that much help.
correct me if I'm wrong. So factor analysis, we need to figure out dependent and independent variables and implement our model. Whereas this business analytics, in the sense, we need to improve the organizational business by reducing the cost. I think. Is that right, sir?
You're reducing the cost, taking the right decisions at right time, working with the limited resources, and extrapolating it to the more number of accurate decisions with the limited resources. So these are the things which you can do with the help of statistics. Using statistics, these are the things which you can do.
I got it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me tell you what are the different distributions we have. So I'll tell you about the theory, because if I'll go to practical, this will be too much heavy, but I'll explain some of the important curves to you. So let me tell you, the first distribution that we have is a normal distribution. So let me type here. The first distribution that we have is so I will write few things here. Normal distribution. Okay. So when we say normal distribution, so I'll say on which type of data it will work on. This works on a continuous data. Okay. And what is the notation? This is being notated as Z distribution. Okay. What are the features? This is a symmetric distribution, a bell-shaped kind of a curve. So I'll say symmetric means similar on the right hand side and similar on the left and right hand side from the center. And it is a okay. So now,
So what
whenever So this is used. So when we need to call this normal distribution, we call it with the symbol Z. With me?
That's it.
Z
Yeah,
means
that's it.
Z test.
Z, yeah. So we call it with Z. So let me tell you. So I'll say, if I'll say Z distribution. It is a normal distribution. So every one of us has a name in office, name in school, and name at home. So this is a name at home, you can call it. And why do we call it name at home? Because like it refers to a table that is known as Z table, that I'll tell you later. So normal distribution is known as Z with the name Z. Are you with me?
Yes.
Yes.
So the next is binomial distribution. It works on count data where have only two outputs. Not continuous count data where we have two outputs. That's why the name is binomial, binary. There's no separate notation to it. It is known as NPR kind of a distribution, because here we used NP and R. So there's no name to it. The name is binomial only. And the feature it uses is basically like the, so okay, the feature it has is it works on the data with two outcomes, either true, false, yes, no, or anything. Okay, so it works on data with okay, so that's a feature of it. Are you with me?
Yes.
The third distribution that we have is Poisson distribution. Poisson distribution is so okay. The use of this distribution. Okay, let me tell you. Okay. So this distribution is used when we need to count whether the percentage or the probability of defects versus no defects. So whether a unit is defective or not defective. So whenever the output is like defectives versus not defective, because we have two outputs, either the unit that we have produced is defective or not defective. Okay, the Poisson distribution is again a discrete distribution. Discrete means it works on counts. Okay, so here the thing is it is used, so it is a binary distribution, or you say distribution that works on count data. It also does not have any notation. It is used into the problems like if we need to calculate say number of deaths in a town from a particular disease. So these kind of things. What is the probability of more than 5 deaths because of coronavirus in India tomorrow? Is these type of problems are being predicted using Poisson distribution. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So it is used to calculate, say, example is so it will give the output like 5 deaths, 20% probability. So if in India, if I'll say 500 deaths, 20% probability. 750 deaths, 50% probability.
So it means it gives the probability also.
It gives the, so every binomial, Poisson, normal will give you the probability on. So these are the probability distributions. Let me rename it. This will tell us the percentage of defects has a probability of 80%, not a defect of defective versus not a defective 80-20 kind of thing. But it will give you the probability. This will give you the probability, like if you'll say what are the chances that it, since it's a continuous distribution, so it will tell you what is the chances that the height of a coming person. Let's example, we have been conducting a test. So okay, let me tell you the example of these three, then I'll go to T distribution and F distribution as well, which are also important. So these are the important distributions which I've been telling you. So let me give you an example. So let's example, if we need to say if we have so if we have been taking admissions in Indian Army. Okay, now every person comes, we measure its height, we measure its weight, and all these things we will measure. Okay, now when a person comes, we measure its height and we measure its weight. So what is the height and the weight? Is it a continuous data or a discrete data?
So continuous data.
Continuous.
Continuous data. So I said normal distribution is a continuous distribution or discrete distribution?
Continuous.
Yeah. So in case I need to measure what is the probability of the coming person for the admission has a height between 5'7" and 5'9". So let's example, I need to measure this. So I will use the normal distribution to calculate the probability. Did you get it now? Did you get it now, guys? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So if you get it, then say we get it. If you didn't get it, then I'm fine to explain again. Okay. If anybody of you didn't get it, then I'm fine to explain.
Sir, for binomial distribution, the data type we can also call it as categorical data, right?
No, I'll come to binomial data. Let's talk about normal only at this point in time. The example which I have taken. If we're trying to measure the height or the weight, or if we are trying to predict the probability with respect to any continuous data, then we use the normal distribution. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Everybody?
Please repeat.
Yes, sir.
Somebody said that has somebody said that I will explain again? I didn't hear the word. Okay. So whenever we need to calculate the probability with respect to the continuous data. So the example which I have taken is we have been taking admissions for Indian Army. So when I have been taking admission for Indian Army, so I have been judging the height and the weight of the candidates who are coming. So now I want to know what is the probability of the people, of the person who is coming just after this, having a height of say between 5.7 and 5.9. For example, I need to judge this. So I'll use the normal distribution because it's a continuous distribution and the height is a continuous variable. So we use the normal distribution to calculate the probability of it. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Now second is binomial distribution. Binomial, let's say example, we have data. So we have a room full of balls, say Costco tennis balls. So have you guys seen the Costco tennis balls? Have you played with these Costco tennis balls when we were children?
You mean the yellow balls, sir?
Yellow
Yes,
ball,
sir.
yeah. The green kind of a ball.
Green kind of ball.
Yeah, we play tennis, we play cricket all the time. And normally when you buy this ball from the market, sometime you will also see that the quality of the ball is not good. Have you ever noticed? Because some of the time when we have been playing a ball and suddenly the ball gets lost, so we get another ball and we see the quality of the ball, which like how it is working earlier, now the quality of ball is a bit different. Did you notice?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. So for example, we have been a room full of these yellow balls. We need to check whether the ball is fine or defective. Fine or defective. Fine or defective. We have been checking the balls. Say every eighth piece came defective, then 12th piece came defective, then 19th piece came defective, then 22nd piece which I picked defective. Now I need to calculate what is the probability of the upcoming piece, 26th piece, being defective or not. Then I will use the binomial distribution because the variable which I've been trying to measure, it's a binary, whether it's defective or not is the thing which I've been trying to measure. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Anybody any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, when we need to measure the time interval between time interval, say if I'll say the number of deaths because of COVID tomorrow, what I'm saying, the number of deaths. So it is a discrete outcome with a count that is not limited to 1 or 2, but it can be many. So this kind of probability which where I've been measuring, then it is being measured using the Poisson distribution. So the example which I've taken is the number of deaths in India tomorrow because of COVID. How many? So we have given the data. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, it was say 500 deaths. Yesterday it is 450 deaths. Today it is 700 deaths. So what is the probability that how many deaths I will be getting tomorrow? So these kind of problems, we use Poisson distribution. Another example which I take is mean time between failure. So a fail happened. Now after how much time the another fail will? A machine failed at 11:55. Now at what other time do we expect the machine to fail? Is again a Poisson distribution problem. Did you get it?
Sir,
Yeah.
Poisson distribution only talks about the probability of deaths, failures, etc. Right? That don't mean
The probability of the variables that is discrete in nature, but it is in a count form. 500, 700, 750, 800, 20,000, whatever it is. Probability when it comes to the form of count, then it is a Poisson distribution.
okay, sir.
Anybody any doubt? Anybody any doubt?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay, guys, I'll take a 5-minute quick break. I'm getting a bit pain in my throat, so just give me 5-minute break. I'll have a glass of warm water and I'll be back. Okay, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Hi guys, can we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the another distribution that we have is T distribution. So T distribution is again a continuous distribution. It is being represented by a symbol T. The thing is, I will write some features. It is similar to Z distribution. It is used to infer the population mean from sample, the thing that we have seen. Another is, so remember this point is very important. When we have data points, that is samples, less than 30, okay, and we need to estimate the mean, then T distribution is works, and when we have sample size greater than 30, then T or Z, any distribution can be used to calculate the mean of the infer the mean of the populations from samples. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Anybody any doubt? So let me tell you. I'll say T distribution versus Z distribution. So you see here, this green one, you see the green line over the top?
Yes,
It is a
Yes,
Z
sir.
distribution. It is a Z distribution. But if I'll say 1, 2, 10 degree of freedom means how many samples we have been taking. As the number of samples are less than 30, it will look similar to the Z distribution, but they are more flatter around the corners as compared to the T distribution one. But as the sample size keeps on increasing, the T distribution will start following a Z distribution. Have you seen? Now when the T with 10 degree, when we say 10 degree of freedom, it means 11 sample size. Samples we have 11. When we have 11 samples, you see when we have 2 samples, the line is this blue, 3 samples, sorry, the line is blue.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, it means the central limit theorem follows, na, sir, in this case.
Yeah, you're right. So as and when the number of samples keeps on increasing to 30, the T distribution will start approximating the Z distribution. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So this is
Yes.
the T. So that's why I wrote this statement that in case it is less than 30, then we use T distribution. But in case it is greater than or equal to 30, then the results of T or Z will be similar. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, another is F distribution.
Yes, sir.
So if we talk about the total distributions, there are more than 100 distributions in total. Okay. But the common ones we have been discussing.
Sir,
Yeah.
can you say sample size, sir? Can you please explain what sample size means here?
Sample size is small n. So we have taken, what is sample size we have taken here in the exercise we have done? We have taken sample size of 30. So if it is 30, we can use a T distribution or we can use a Z distribution. So let's example, on that day we have used the T distribution. If I'll say data analysis, and if I'll say Z test 2 sample means. Okay. I'll do this. If I'll select variable 1, I select.
So what we use if we have binomial variables with more than 30 samples?
Binomial distribution.
I mean, okay, but sample size is more than 30, so we can use sample size is more than 30 means we can use either T or Z.
No. So T and Z are the continuous distribution. Binomial is a discrete, so they cannot be amended. So if Virat
Combined.
Kohli, if Virat Kohli is not playing, we can't ask Ronaldo to play in place of him. So they are the two different players.
Okay.
Another assumption of the Z distribution is that the variance we need to enter. Variance is basically the variation in the data. So I'll say, let's example. It basically says the variance of the thing is known. So I'll say okay, this is the variance. So I'll say here data analysis Z. I'll say okay. I'll say variance is 755 and it coming to somewhere around 1100. Okay, and I want output to be displayed here. I'll say okay. So now you see the p value is 0.007. Here p value is 0.004. So the output is similar. Whatever we are saying, it is similar only. Only difference of 0.002 something. The difference is. So the thing is, whenever we have samples, as we go on increasing the sample size, the p value of T and Z will come closer.
Also, T has become Z critical.
Sorry, come again.
T1 tail has become Z1 tail.
Yeah. Because we have used a Z distribution here now to calculate the mean. So as I said, if we have sample more than 30, or as they keep on increasing after 30, T distribution will start following the Z distribution. So if I'll improve the sample, if I'll take more sample, 35, 40, 45, then the value, P value of this T test and Z test will come closer to each other.
Sir, so what you have done here, I did not get like the Z test. We have applied the T test and on the same data you did the Z test.
Yeah. So the reason is why I have done this is because you see here when we have sample size greater than 30, then T and Z, any distribution can be used. I've written this line.
Yes, yes.
So that's why yesterday we applied the T test. Now on the same data, I applied the Z test. It is giving the P value 0.007. It is giving value P 0.004. Why the value is similar, like only 0.002 or 3 difference? The reason is because we have 30 samples. As I increase to 60, 80, 100 samples for each vendor, T and Z will start following. T and Z will give like a similar kind of.
Okay, but sir, it is like what for our use, what we do, like when we have sample size less than 30, then we go for T, and if it is greater than 30, we go for Z.
Yeah, if it is less than 30, yeah, if it is T, if it is less than 30, then you can go with T. If it is more than 30, then you can go with T or Z, whatever you.
Okay, okay, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, if we want to calculate that how much sample we have to take to analysis, so how would we do that?
I'll tell you. So that thing is pending.
Okay, sir.
Are we here? Are we aligned?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Another distribution that we have is, so this will be the F distribution. It is a continuous distribution. This is represented by a sample F. This is used to compare the variance or standard deviation among the samples. So the thing that we have seen in ANOVA, I said you that we use the F distribution on the backend, which will calculate the variance within and between sample and give us the results. The F distribution is used to calculate the variance of the samples. This is the F distribution. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So I'll show you.
Yes, sir.
This is the way how T distribution look like. I'll say F distribution. F distribution looks like this.
There is some unsymmetry.
Unsymmetry. It is left skew distribution.
So right student.
Oh, sorry, right
Right
skew.
Right
skew.
skew.
Yeah. You see, so it has two parameters. One is within sample and second is between sample. So D1 and D2. When D1 and D2 are 1, it is like a red kind of a thing. When it increases D100, D200, it will start following a normal kind of a distribution with time. But the time it will take to follow normal distribution, it will not be a normal distribution at any point of time, but it will look similar, but it will be a right skewed all the time. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
One more distribution which I will tell you is exponential distribution.
So this F distribution is the same F test that we have conducted.
Yeah. So every test we do with the name F is F distribution. Every test that we do with the name Z is normal distribution. Every test that we do with T is a T distribution. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And all is in control.
Sorry, come again. Sorry, I didn't get you the last time.
all are under control to check hypothesis testing.
So these are the probability distribution. Hypothesis testing uses this distribution to calculate the p-value. P-value is a probability value.
Okay.
So these are the probabilistic distributions. So hypothesis tests use these distributions to calculate the p-value. P-value is known as probability value.
Okay, sir, got it.
Okay. Guys, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now another distribution is known as exponential distribution. It is again a continuous distribution. Works on continuous data. There is no, so symbol is basically the lambda. We call it symbol as like this. This is a symbol for exponential distribution. Okay. We normally use it when we need to calculate the time between the events. When we need to calculate the example being, so
Sir, voice is not audible.
yeah. So I'm thinking of the example. Time when you place the order for the pizza and time when you get the pizza. So the time between the events, if you need to predict, then we do it with the help of exponential distribution. So I'll write it down. So okay, everything. So the thing is, we have the pizza delivery. So let's example, you take a notepad and a piece of and a pen, and you sit on a Pizza Hut. For example, you're sitting on a Pizza Hut, and what happens is, whenever any person comes, you note the time that the person A came, he has taken a pizza, he asked for a pizza, and you have he has asked pizza at 11:10 and you have delivered the pizza at 11:20. Now the second person came, he asked for the pizza at 11:25. We gave it a pizza at 11:30 only. Or the people who are waiting in a queue of a doctor. Okay, what we are doing here is, we are trying to estimate the time. We are trying to estimate the time, the waiting time. So whenever we are trying to estimate the waiting time or the time between the events, we use the exponential distribution. Are we aligned?
Yes, sir.
So these are the distribution, guys. The beauty is, whenever we need to calculate the probability. So if in Monday's class, we will be discussing something about the probability, but that probability will be the simple probability. We will be saying what is the probability of getting a number 5 in a dice. So what is the probability of getting a number 5 in a dice?
1/6.
1/6. What is the probability of getting 5 on 2 dices together?
2/36.
2/36. So what is the probability? What is the probability of getting 5 in first dice and 3 on second dice?
1/3
1/3 into 1. 1
1 by
Huh?
36. 1 by 36.
1 by 30.
Yeah. So what is the probability of getting 5 on 2 dice is again 1 by 36. It's not 2 by 36.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the thing which I want to do. So these are the simple probabilities. So when we talk about the numbers, so these are the examples which I've been giving you: exponential, Poisson, T, Z. These are the distributions with respect to a specific kind of problems. When we are working on any kind of a problem, then these distributions are being used, apart from the simple probability that we will be seeing on Monday. So these are the some distributions. So if we'll talk about the total distributions, we have more than 100 distributions. If we'll search over the distributions, we have more than 100 distributions. So these are the some of the common distribution. Few are discrete, few are continuous with the different purposes. So let's example, if we need to score a good runs in the middle order, then a particular player, say ABC, will work. Particular player will work in case we need to score and we need to control the runs and number of things. So these are the distributions that are used for a different purposes. With me?
Yes, sir.
So guys, this is the thing I have for today. So tomorrow, in case anybody has any doubt with respect to the things we have covered now, so there is a session that is planned at 12 in the noon. In case anybody has any doubt till now, can attend that or can ask for the doubts. Rest can skip that. There won't be any class tomorrow. There would be a doubt session. In case anybody has any doubt, then the person can join at 12 noon.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so in case the person doesn't have doubt, then it's okay. There is no need to join. If the person has the doubt, then person can ask the doubt. It won't be a 2-hour session. It will be a the time till the people have the doubts. They want to doubt anything for the thing that we have learned for this week. Then they can come and join it. In case we don't have, then we can skip it. Okay, guys.
Okay, sir.
Huh?
Yeah.
So can you please repeat the F distribution?
F distribution.
Yes, when we can use the F distribution.
Yeah, sure. So F distribution is basically, so the ANOVA that we have used. We have used ANOVA.
Yes, sir.
So what ANOVA has done, I told you that ANOVA will calculate the within sample variation and the between sample variation.
Yes, sir.
So whenever it comes to calculating the variation or the standard deviation, then the F distribution.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Now got it, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, guys. We'll meet
Sir.
tomorrow. Yeah, please.
Sir, we usually use Z for the standard normal distribution.
Z is standard normal distribution.
Standard normal.
Yeah. So there's a difference between normal and standard normal. So the normal and standard normal are same. So again, okay, I will explain you later on. This is again a bigger concept. So we right now at this point of time, you will call it a Z as a normal or a standard normal distribution. Both are fine. But I'll tell you there's a difference between normal and standard normal.
Sir, tomorrow Paris version, same link will have to use.
Yeah, the same link you will be getting at 12, or the same link that you can use for tomorrow. So it's the same link which you guys will be using. And in case you have any doubts, you can come to the session. In case you don't have the doubt, then you will skip it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank
Sir,
you.
Thank you very
sir,
much.
Sir, one
please.
doubt I have.
Yeah.
So for using this F test, it is not necessary that the number of like the sample should be more than 2.
Yeah, you're right. So it works on in unequal sample sizes as well. Say one sample has 5, second sample has 3, second sample has 3 observations, one sample has 5 observations, third has 7 observations. It can work on that. But normally, whenever we work on any distribution, any continuous distribution, it's good if we have more than 30 data points.
More than 30 should be the sample size, but the number of samples can be any number of samples, right?
So samples Any number of samples, yeah, any number of samples. Normally more than 2 samples. The sample size should be considered greater than 30 is good. Any number of samples, you're right.
Okay, sir.
Okay, guys. So tomorrow 12. Okay, for the doubt session.
Yes. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, sir.
Good night.